Treyarch just buffed Frostblast. Unfortunately, they also nerfed Frostblast in more ways than you might think. But do these changes make Frostblast a viable option as a field upgrade? And what are these hidden downsides? Do the pros outweigh the cons? I have the stats and the graphs. Let's find out. And if you're somebody who just wants to know what exactly changed with Frostblast, I'm putting chapters in this video so you can use them to skip to the final results. But now let's talk about exactly what they did to make Frostblast better. The first thing they did is they reduced its charge time. Before, Frostblast had a charge time of 90 kills, now they reduced it to 75. Now fortunately, it also reduces the amount of kills for the extra charge to charge, needing only 54 kills. This is incredibly fast, and I did have to go back through and test out all of the different combinations again. This is all going to be pre-patch stuff that you see up here, but then once we get down here, we're going to get to the post-patch stuff. And as you could see, they still have not fixed the Arsenal Accelerator and extra charge not working together. But you'll notice that if you have the Speed Cola Augment, that further reduces your charge time. It's going to be down to 63 kills. With Arsenal Accelerator by default, it's going to be 46 kills. If you have Speed Cola and Arsenal Accelerator, it's only going to take you 38 kills to charge up Frostblast. That is insanely fast. In terms of extra charge, 54 by default is really good, and then with Speed Cola it reduces it to 45, which is not as good as I really would have wanted it to be, but still really good. Sorry, these percentages were a little bit weird here, but yes, you're still getting that like 66, 38% that we got up here too. In fact, all of the percentage reductions from pre-patch to post-patch are nearly identical, meaning that the effects of Speed Cola and Arsenal Accelerator are consistent. But if you want a fancier way of looking at that, something more visual, here is a graph. You can see the base Frostblast with nothing else, 75 kills. You just slap on extra charge, you're already down to 54. And after that, between this 38 and this 54, that's not too many kills, especially when you're getting into the later rounds of zombies. This field upgrade is going to be incredibly fast charging for you, which means that you can spam it a little bit more. But if you do decide to put on the Speed Cola Augment, that reduces the amount of kills it takes to charge, as well as the extra charge augment of Frostblast, which is not a bad idea, you can get down to 45 kills, which pre-patch would have been faster than even the fastest combination of Speed Cola and Arsenal Accelerator. So they really did a number to make this a lot more frequent, which is awesome. The next thing they did was increase its duration all the way up to a huge whopping 10 seconds. And there's really nothing else to say about that. They increased it to 10 seconds, but that means with extension, the extension now goes all the way up to 15 seconds. And I know what you're wondering. Yes, it does affect Frostcast as well. This thing is ridiculous. By default, you're getting that insane 24-meter range of Frostcast, and then you add on extension to 15 seconds, you're getting 1.5 more seconds, you're going to get 1.5 times more meters, which means the longest range you can get is 36 meters for Frostcast already. 24 meters is hard to get. 36 meters, why would you even need that? It's almost like I said before, it's almost too good, because why would you ever need to Frostblast something 36 meters away? It's a little bit weird. Part of me almost wishes that the distance remained the same and it just took longer to get to that distance. That way you can kind of camp around the Frostblast effect and kill enemies in there, but I don't know. It's really silly and it's pretty fun, but unfortunately, the increase in duration also comes with a huge whopping downside to flash freeze. This was already pretty garbage before, and it's even worse now. They've made this incredibly terrible. This flash freeze does not flash freeze, and Treyarch, please fix this. This is incredibly broken. The time it takes for a zombie to freeze frozen solid with flash freeze is 50% of the duration of Frostblast, meaning by default we have 10 seconds, meaning it's going to take a zombie 5 seconds in the Frostblast effect to get frozen to be able to be insta-killed. And when you put on extension, you're extending that duration to 15 seconds, meaning that you're inevitably nerfing flash freeze by making it last or forcing zombies to be in the Frostblast for 7.5 seconds before they're frozen solid. To put into perspective, many weapons with the introduction of double tap will kill 2 zombies per second at health cap. 2 zombies a second. And you're telling me that you need zombies to be still in this one Frostblast area for 7.5 seconds before I can insta-kill them? I know it's a horde of zombies, I know it's a lot of zombies, but it's just terrible. Not only that, it still only lasts until Frost Blast is over and they're unfrozen again, but secondly, because it takes so long for them to freeze, they actually walk through the Frost Blast. If you're being chased, they will walk through the Frost Blast and never even get frozen at all. Meaning now you need to kind of train around your Frost Blast in order to get them to maybe freeze eventually for like a second. This augment is trash. Please, Treyarch, fix this somehow. It's terrible. And finally, one of the biggest nerfs that they did is actually kind of a fix. Beforehand, Frost Blast was actively working with Cryo Freeze augments without having Cryo Freeze on, meaning that if you had like Ice Cloud in your Cryo Freeze augments activated, you didn't even need to activate Cryo Freeze, but when you use Frost Blast, you would get those ice clouds. They have now fixed that. Now, luckily, everything still works, and the insane damage potential that we talked about with Frost Blast in our main video still works. You still get a crazy damage increase with equipment, with kill streaks, and yes, even with ammo mods like Cryo Freeze if you are actually running Cryo Freeze, and that is the only difference. The only difference is now you actually have to run Cryo Freeze in order to get the Cryo Freeze augments, which is balanced and exactly how it should be. In terms of viability, I personally do not believe the problem with Frost Blast was its duration. It's nice that it's 10 seconds and 15 seconds. It's nice that it charges a little bit better. The problem is that what it did is pretty niche, and it still very much is. The best way to use this now is probably going to be kind of like a mini ring of fire against special and elite enemies. Because it charges so frequently, you can activate this on some sort of doppelgast and it will deal great damage. You can deal extra damage when it's in the ice cloud. You can then use Frostcast to like face another doppelgast or face a mimic or face a mangler or something across the way. And then once that enemy is slowed down, you can deal extra damage to that. What I want to see from a real buff of Frost Blast is really one or two things. Obviously, fix this broken and terrible flash freeze effect. This is terrible. Make it like 1 second, make it like half a second, make them flash freeze for crying out loud. Secondly, only having the slowness effect last until Frost Blast is done, making the flash freeze effect only effective until Frost Blast is over, heavily limits the usefulness of this field upgrade. I would love to see a generic timer on all of these slowed enemies. As soon as they're slowed, okay, they have 5 seconds as they're slowed. If they're frozen, cool, they have 10 seconds to be one shot. Even if they get frozen in the last millisecond of Frost Blast's effect, when Frost Blast is over, they are still frozen for 5 seconds, 6 seconds, 10 seconds, something like that. That way, the effect of Frost Blast lasts longer than the actual Frost Blast itself. And you don't need to worry that, oh my goodness, you need to deal all of this damage in this tiny little 10-second window that Frost Blast is active. It is nice that it is now 10 seconds. Believe me, it's a lot better. It's going to get you a lot more damage on target, and it's going to make Frost Blast a lot easier to use, but I don't think it's going up in the rankings list anytime soon. So let's recap. They reduced the amount of kills it takes to charge Frost Blast. Whereas it used to charge in 90 kills, now it's reduced to 75 kills. The extra charge, which was once 65 kills, is now 54 kills, and Speed Cola and Arsenal Accelerator will further reduce those. They also increased the duration of Frost Blast from 5 seconds to 10 seconds, which then by extension increased the extension augment from 10 seconds to 15 seconds. This then affected the Frostcast field upgrade, by default now having a 24-meter range as opposed to 12 meters before, and the extension distance is going to be 36 meters, which is basically impractical. And unfortunately, this extension bonus buff actually secretly nerfed Flash Freeze, because like we said, it takes zombies 50% of the time inside of the Frostblast field upgrade area to get frozen. Extending this duration now means that regular zombies by default have to be standing in the Frost Blast for 5 seconds before they become frozen and an insta-kill. If you add on extension to that, they need to be standing inside of the Frost Blast area for 7.5 seconds, except now zombies can basically walk from end to end of the Frost Blast area and just never get frozen. This thing is garbage. And secondly, they fixed a glitch where the Cryo Freeze augments were activating during Frost Blast. That is no longer the case. However, everything still stacks with Frost Blast. All of the insane stuff we talked about in the base video, kill streaks, ammo mods, Cryo Freeze, and equipment, they all stack elemental damage. It all stacks with the bonus damage that Frost Blast gets you. Now, if you're totally confused, Donuts, what bonus damage are you talking about? Boy, do you have some mind-blowing information coming your way, because Frost Blast gives you such an insane damage boost. It does truly act like a mini ring of fire. And if you want to figure out exactly how that works, be sure to check out this video and stay beautiful.